Welcome back to the English and English podcast. That's Brett.
That's Eric.
And this is where we talk about whatever the hell we want.
Mm-hmm.
We need to come up with an official intro.
Music-wise?
No, it's like a catchphrase.
Ready for an English lesson?
Right, something like that. It's time for an English lesson.
Time to put some English on it.
Or yeah,
those are the obvious low-hanging fruit.
Or something about bad English. Or improper
good
English, good English, old English.
Bad English. Old
English.
O-L-D-E.
Yeah.
Old English.
Old. So I only have a couple topics that I'm individually bringing today. One of these is something that just blew my mind.
Oh, yes?
And I didn't know this. But apparently...
Tell me of the things you did not know.
Yeah. It's a very short list.
Uh-huh, I'm sure.
The guy from Wes from Road Warrior, the guy with the red mohawk, who was like Lord Among Us' right-hand man.
Right, the right hand...
who had a little gay buddy that got killed by the boomerang. And I'll tell you how I figured this out in a second, but he's the same actor that played Bennett in Commando.
You're right.
I didn't
see
know
it
that.
now. I did not ever put that together.
Yeah, I went to look
Probably
it up.
obvious to a lot of people, but I never...
some Australian guy. So that's why I was just like, what? That's him?
Right, yeah.
The goofy chainmail wearing dude? Like, he's a little bit
mohawk.
homoerotic in all his roles, I guess. We didn't have a mohawk in Commando.
No, I was referencing the other movie.
Well, because anyways, what happened was on my YouTube channel is the Lord Among Us, and someone was like, Lord Among Us is a fag. He got mad when his boyfriend got killed by the boomerang. And I was like, dude, that wasn't his boyfriend. That was the Wes's boyfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously has homosexual minions.
Right, yeah.
But he's an equal opportunity employer.
Right.
So I was looking up, because I knew the guy's name was Wes.
The character.
The redheaded mohawk guy, not the guy who died, his boyfriend.
No,
died.
but I'm saying that's the character's name, not the actor's name.
Right, I don't know the actor's name. But I went to look up to see what his boyfriend's name was, because I didn't know what it was, what the character's name was. And that's when I clicked on that guy, and I was like, wait a minute, he looked in this picture, in like his profile picture on IMDb, he looked like the guy from Commando.
Right, yeah.
Because he
not
had like
wearing
a little
the
facial
outlandish,
hair.
right,
yeah, and so then I looked it up and was like, holy shit, it is him. But I still can't find out what his gay little boyfriend's name was. He got killed by a boomerang.
Credited.
Yeah. Or if it was, I don't know.
They weren't allowed to hire
have
gays
pictures
back then.
Right. They didn't have pictures on a lot of the
Couldn't be credited.
So even though it said, like, one said, like, the blonde something, and I was like, that's probably him, but it didn't have a picture.
Yeah,
so,
I gotcha. Yeah, there was no actor's picture next to it to know if that's the
Right.
character you're looking for.
Yeah, so it blew my mind. Learn new things about 80s movies every day.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of movies, I recently...
Aren't we always?
Well, we are always. It's there. But I recently saw The Interview.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
That's pretty funny.
It was all right. It was... However, after seeing it, I kind of feel like, some people went the conspiracy theory route and said that maybe they just amended their hacking. Like, they got hacked, Sony.
Right.
Then they said later on that, it was North Korea, and that's why we can't release this drum up thing, because it was kind of middling. I mean, it was amusing.
Yeah, but most movies are like that, though. Most movies are just middling.
Right. But I mean, like, so I don't think it was not the best movie that those guys have made, is what I'm saying. Like,
no, certainly not. But I mean, like, it was just a random movie until that came out. Like, oh, hey, here's another comedy that these guys are making. It only ever became a big deal because, like, it wasn't expected to be like the best fucking movie ever.
No. But I'm saying it's a good way to make an okay movie into a secret.
I thought that maybe that was it, but they handled it so poorly, and then ended up probably making a lot less money than if they wanted to.
One thing that was weird about that movie to me too is, I don't know, maybe it was like budget loss or something. Like the sound in that movie was weird.
Like sound quality?
No, like they would have music. Like most movies have music running in the background a lot,
right?
More than you really need to, depending on the tone of the movie. But they would do like one sound thing, like when the girl comes with the big machine gun, it's like dun, 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 like that music. But it would play like those three notes and then stop. It's like they spent all their budget on Katy Perry, like getting allowed to use Katy Perry, since it was like a plot point that one guy liked Katy Perry. They had to have that song in there several times.
I think it was just awkwardly done. I doubt that it was because
because
that was like license free music anyway. Like that music they just got some guy on a keyboard to come up with.
No, that's music from like an old western. It's like an old spaghetti western, like I can't remember what it's from. Like
I thought
it also was used in like Kill Bill or something. I think too.
I thought it was just music that sounds like that.
It might have been just very similar enough that I thought it was from one, but still, yeah, it's like
overall I thought it was decent, nothing crazy. The funniest part was when he was. Seth Rogen was about to shake his hand, and he's like, no, you can't shake hands with him. He's like, why not? He's a Jew.
He's like, oh, gross.
Ew. Yeah, oh, gross.
Kim Jong-un was like,
oh, gross. sorry.
He's like, so sorry.
Right, yeah.
He like apologizes to him for him being a Jew.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's very culturally sensitive.
He's Jewish.
Right, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Right.
But other than that, it was funny, worth watching, but not impressively funny.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
It's pretty standard fare for that sort of thing.
Yeah. There was just something while I was watching, though, that did seem a little bit weird to me. Like, I think it was the sound or something, like, not the sound, the lack of a soundtrack.
Like sound editing, kind of.
Right. It just, like, a lot of the scenes... It's the stuff you don't miss in movies
until it's
not there. Like there's not enough background noise, or like the place seems empty where there's a lot of stuff supposed to be happening, but you don't feel like a lot of stuff is happening. Like there's no music, or there's no like sounds of crowds. It's like, oh man, we're here with a huge crowd. Why does it feel like everybody's quiet? Although I guess it could just be because they're making North Korea. Like everybody's deathly quiet because they're not speaking.
That reminds me of, have you seen that video where someone took the last scene from the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope? Where
and took out the music.
Like they took out the music, so it's just really awkward that you hear like in the background footsteps, and they're just like weirdly smiling at each other.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Quiet. Yeah, it's like a deathly quiet scene. Like you add the music,
and they add like mouth noises and stuff.
Right,
like,
the music's not realistic,
right?
But the music is implying what's going on inside the people.
Well, in that sense,
there.
it was realistic because the music was supposed to be being played at the ceremony,
right? Or even if it's not,
it lends itself to the
emotional state of the characters that it's happened to, their triumphant feelings, and
it was like a big ceremony, but it was hilarious because it was like deathly quiet.
Deathly quiet, like everybody's like in a church with no sermon.
Right, like
you just stand at the church,
right? And like so a couple.
The guy puts a few medals on somebody,
right, like nervous shifting and stuff.
It just doesn't even say like "Hail, you're hero." It just does a gesture.
And everyone cheers.
Everyone turns around and
there's no cheers.
There's no cheers. Right? Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
There's still this one video that cracks me up every time I watch it. It's just another Star Wars clip where Luke. They're messing with R2-D2 and he starts playing the hologram message from Leia, but they edited it or they superimposed it so it's just like a video of a stripper.
Right, yeah.
And like the facial expressions are perfect because he stops and then like Obi-Wan just kind of leans back contemplatively and then Luke like looks at him, he just kind of looks at him.
Right, yeah, they look at each other.
Right.
And then the Obi-Wan does like a...
He does like a...
Yeah.
And
then he taps his temple and opens his hand like I'm thinking.
Kind of look at each other. It works perfectly with the video. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. Like when they add farts in random movies. I think the Matrix one was probably the best one for that.
I don't know if I saw that one.
You haven't seen this one?
No.
They add farts at the perfect times in the movie.
Right,
like there's one where he's like, and then he's like, "You think that's air you're breathing now?" And then another one is like the Oracle, and he's like, "She's like, smell good, don't they?" Just random times like that, where the existing dialogue and expressions match up perfectly with it. But that was you think that's air you're breathing now.
This is going to be an awkward, not an awkward segue. It's a good segue to an awkward topic.
Farts.
Something came up recently. I was talking to somebody else, going from farts to apparently there is like some, like people do random ingredients from like that they get like coffee that's been pooped out of animals and stuff.
Oh yeah, those coffee beans that have been pooped out by like these lemur things.
Right, like so somebody discovered that like badgers, or somebody said somewhere that like badgers have raspberry flavored anus glands.
Oh, I thought it was raccoon glands or porcupine glands are used in like citrus flavored something.
Maybe, but it's like, whoa, so you're drinking like the ass juice.
Yeah,
it's like
basically.
You're made with natural flavors, no real raspberry in your raspberry drink. Oh, because that's what we were talking about. We're talking about how, like, you try to get grape juice, and it's apple juice with grape flavoring.
Most of
like,
it's all apple juice.
All apple juice. You can't just get straight up, like,
first of all, it's mostly just water with a little bit of apple juice and then a drop of flavoring.
Right, yeah, and then enough purple
purple drink to
even if it's 100% natural, like, no artificial bits.
Well, ass juice is 100% natural.
Right, but I'm saying they still use, like, mostly apple juice.
Right, it's not actual.
You're not actually getting squeezed grapes.
Yeah, you have to get like juicy juice or something that's 100%.
Like,
even the juicy juice is 100% real juice.
Apparently,
but
like badger, like who thought to try this? Is what I'm thinking. It's the same problem. Like,
it must have been like a hunter is like skinning it and it squirts all over his face.
Like,
yeah, it's a little bit
minty. It could just be that one badger ate a fuck ton of raspberries, like, and just got raspberry flavored everything, like you get asparagus pea or something.
Right.
Just ate too many raspberries because it was like, got out.
Yeah, like one time I ate 2 of those canisters of blueberries and had a big purple shit.
Right, exactly. So like not like canned blueberries.
Well, just like the clamshells.
They're
like $2 for $5 at Publix. So I was like, I'll buy these.
Go bad.
And then I was like, and I ate them all and had a big blue crap. So I mean, like, someone can see that and be like, "Wow, these humans have blue crabs."
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Not always.
Comes down, samples your particular.
Sometimes.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Samples like, it tastes like berries.
Right. Some alien,
Hunter,
anthropologist,
like a predator,
or predator
kills me and is like, "Oh,
we can track them with these berry molecules." It's like, I can't find any humans here.
Right.
Like, well, there's just no berries, I guess.
Yeah. So don't eat too many blueberries.
Right. Yeah.
It's a not so mild laxative.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of fiber in that fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general. Mm-hmm. So I finally sold something on that Swip Swap group.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sold a few things. They like to trickle me along to keep me
sell
invested.
Just enough things that you come back from
but
the
I still
abuse.
have to deal with all the crazy. But this one was funny because it went smoothly, but there was an interesting situation where I had these canopy tents.
Okay.
So they're like, I got them out of a storage unit, but they're like a wall-less tent basically. Pop them up for like garage sales or selling
doing garage sales,
lemonade or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, there's 3 of them in
there.
Having
eating under at a campsite.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Barbecues, tailgating, whatever. And so there was 3 of them in there, and I listed them for like $150 for all 3 or something like that. And the woman said, "Would you take $120 for all 3, and I can meet you at 9 in the morning this morning?" And I was like, "Can you do 10:30? Because like 9 is too freaking early for me to drag my ass over there." And she thought I guess she thought I typoed 1:30. Like I was trying to write, "Would you take $130?" And she's like, "I can do 125." So she just like raised her price by $5 when I had been willing to accept the one. So I was like, "Oh, that works. I'll meet you at 10. Is that okay?"
Right, yeah.
So I ended up meeting at 10 or 11
getting
actually,
5 more bucks.
And getting $5 more accidentally.
Now they'll find this podcast.
That's fine. No worries.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my original price was I was trying to get $150 for all.
Right.
So
So
still got $25 off. Yeah. So and that's a deal because those things are about $100 a piece and they're basically perfect condition.
Yeah.
I'm always in favor of selling all of it at once instead of having to do 3 individual meetings with people that may flake and all this other crap.
Exactly.
So it's definitely better to sell it, take the money and run. I'm already in the black for that unit now, so anything else is just gravy.
Cool.
So, what else we got on our list of That was my 2 topics.
That was your 2, man.
Yeah, I sold something, and the Wes and Bennett are the same guy.
Well, have you heard this story? That it's probably a pretty old story, but it's only come to me recently.
Is it about a Krampus?
It is not, in fact, about a Krampus.
We need to have more goat demon themed
we
stories.
Can make a whole special podcast
just goat
on
demons.
the Krampus and the Chupacabra and other goat demons.
And lamias and stuff
and what
like
the
that.
Genetic tree of their, what the family tree is.
Right. How are they related?
Of the satyr and goat demon.
Right, satyrs or whatever they're called.
And goat demon persons.
Yeah, and other pagan.
And the plight, and other pagan suppressed minorities.
Right. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody loves the elves.
Right.
When did the goat nymphs get any... They don't get any representation.
Have you seen that stupid Hercules movie with The Rock?
No, I didn't.
It wasn't very good, and it was PG-13, but they used there was like this tribe of people that were pretending to be centaurs, or people thought they were, but they were really just riding around on horses. And they used their one F-bomb because it was a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
The Rock just punches one and is like, "Fuck centaurs."
That's what they needed.
It's hilarious because it's like unrelated and so like modernized, and it's like they just had to squeeze in their one F-bomb. Because for anyone who doesn't know, the MPA ratings, you get one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
Right.
But it has to be used like that. It can't be used to physically describe sex.
Right.
Like you can't be like, "Oh, I fucked them."
Right.
Or
yeah,
like she fucked so and so, because then it has to just be used as like a nondescript expletive, like yeah. So, anyways, he was like, "Fuck centaurs," but it's hilarious. So it is out of left field.
Joke.
It is a joke.
I mean, it is
might not know it.
Yeah,
but it cracked me up because I was like, "We need to get that sound clip." That's what we need for this is a soundboard.
Yeah,
because there's a couple sounds that I'd like to play. Like anytime someone mentions
Jingo and the Baby.
Anything like that. But anytime someone mentions, or like, what's that? A bunch of Arnold stuff from like, what's the holiday movie?
Oh, Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, where it's like,
great little one-liners and stuff.
Yeah, like,
you said you could eat my cookies.
Rock 'em, sock 'em, jetpacks. Like wowie zowie.
Yeah, zippy zowie, wowie wow. You know.
But there's one from I totally spaced out. Oh, anytime someone says anything to do with the law, all I think of is from the original Judge Dredd. Yeah. It's like, "You betrayed the law." Law! Yeah, exactly. Anytime someone's like, "Law," I just go, "Law!" Well, it wasn't Stallone, it was Amar Hassan.
Oh, okay.
Because he goes, "You betrayed the law." And then Miranda Song goes, Law!
Yeah, he just says degrading, like Law!
Like dismissively, right?
Yeah, exactly. I forgot that.
But speaking of edits, I saw another one where because he opened his mouth really wide when he says it, like Law.
Yeah,
and so someone just edited a burp noise. They're like, "You betrayed the law," and he's. I'm obviously a child's mind, and I'm easily pleased.
Yeah, exactly.
Effluvia jokes.
Yeah, I thought for a second you said a bird noise.
That would be even better. You could obviously do like you could add in anything.
Just added animal noises in
right.
the movies,
like lion roaring. And stuff.
Yeah. People doing animal noises that you add in.
Right, like
so it's obviously just a man doing it.
Right. You don't use a recording of real animals.
Right. Yeah, use a recording of people mimicking animals.
Right.
Like a duck call or something, and then but it goes in there, so this guy just going just like nonsensically.
Yeah, that's good. So we need to work on the soundboard because there's got to be a way to make your own custom one.
Oh, there are
like just to use MP3s but structure it so that I can just hit a button instead of having to open a file.
There's a couple little
because it has to be Flash or something, I guess.
To
do it quick like that. You don't want to have to open like the media player or something. You just wanted to hit a button and
ways,
bam, bam.
Not worth talking about on the the podcast
nerd stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's behind the scenes stuff that I have to look into a little bit, but I know there are a couple ways. I've just never done them.
Yeah, exactly. But that would be good. I won't need a soundbar.
You said something. You sound like something that reminded me.
Yeah,
something a while back that we didn't get recorded, and it's too humorous to not get recorded.
Okay.
The porn is always in the DVD player.
Yeah, well, I actually got that from. There's a guy on YouTube who does videos about reselling and just like hustling and not hustling in like a criminal sense, but hustling to make a buck.
Constantly selling
like
stuff.
Side hustles. Yeah. And one of his like specials or his seminars was called "The Porn Is Always in the DVD Player." Just about the realities of like buying used stuff in storage units. Yeah. And because every time you dig through these like bulk lots of storage units or estate buyouts and stuff, you'll see like porn cases sometimes, but they're always empty because it's always in the player.
In the DVD player.
Yeah,
they don't ever bother to pack it up when they.
No.
Well, then, like you said, because a lot of times it's eviction specials,
right? Where they just grab everything out.
Where the land. That's a case where if you don't know, the landlord, the renter's behind on pay. The landlord goes in.
Evicted, I guess.
If they get officially evicted, the landlord goes in, scoops everything out of the place. They have to put it in storage.
At least in Florida, they have to they can't just. And there's certain situations. Sometimes they're allowed to just set it curbside.
Right.
I don't know which is which, and other times they have to put it in storage.
It might depend on the contract for the lease, but who knows?
Or if they're officially evicted yet or not, or whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
But you have to put it in storage, and then they have a certain amount of time to go. You inform them of where
they have to go pay the storage,
and they have a certain amount of time to go. Get their stuff back by paying for the storage unit.
Yeah, so a lot of times
but it almost never happens. Yeah, because you're evicted.
If
you don't have money to pay your rent, you're not going to go pay for the stuff you left behind when you skipped out on the last.
So then they go to auction, and people like me buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, a few weeks ago, I guess I got one that had a VCR in it, and I saw like a red tape in there. So I plugged it in, and it worked, and it was True Anal Stories too, like raging '90s porn.
Right? Wouldn't that be funny if it said that, but it was actually just stories about like medical?
Right. I don't think they used the term anal.
Right. Yeah, I know, but I mean,
right. But it's like Rescue 911 or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
In 2001,
this man
Joe Smith called in with abdominal cramps.
Right.
Turns out there's a baby alligator in his rectum.
Right, yeah.
That swam up from the sewer or something.
Right, yeah. Or just like even while the people were doing sex.
There's a big purple shit that was half blueberries.
Right, yeah, exactly. True Anal Stories
exactly.
5 on the Crime Channel,
right?
On Court TV.
Or True TV or Court TV. It's True TV, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the Court Channel? True Anal Story. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and it was in the VCR, which proved his hypothesis that the porn is always in the DVD player, or in this case, the VCR.
Yeah. Oh, we got sidetracked. I was going to tell you about something else.
Oh, before I started talking about...
we went on to those other things there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a story, like I said, it's kind of old, but it's only recently come to my attention.
I interrupted.
Some big church somewhere. Saddleback, I think was the name. I don't know of this church.
Is that
mega church kind
that
of
guy? What the hell is his name? The real
Driscoll,
smarmy guy. No, not Driscoll. The guy who's always on the books.
Maybe.
With a J. Joel Osteen. Is it his?
No. Somebody else.
But somebody like that.
Something like that, yeah. Driscoll, Osteen, different styles of people, but definitely those big churches.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And of course, but it got some controversy because the guy posted on the head pastor posted on Facebook page a picture that he got from something that said a saddleback like staff member's attitude during the week, or typical attitude of a saddleback member. It was supposed to be like a little joke about like how happy and hard working they are or something. Yeah. But it was a picture of a communist China propaganda poster of this woman like looking off in the distance with a red China like armband. Yeah. And then they're like, everyone blew up because like, you don't understand the subtext here. The subtext is either that
these are like brainwashed people.
These are brainwashed people.
Right.
That have been, and then like of course some like Chinese Christians were like, you realize that they beat and kill us, you know? Like, you know, it's like, well, dude, and he's like, that's not what I meant. It was just a joke. It's like, it was a bad joke because either the joke you thought you were making is that we're so happy-go-lucky. Look how funny we are for being so like smiley all the time.
Just against all odds, cheerful.
Against all odds, cheerful. But the joke actually is, oh look, we have a staff full of brainwashed simpletons in our cults, you know, who can't say no or else we
for fear of reprisal,
them. Yeah. Who must be happy with what we're doing.
Yeah, they're just
because otherwise
oblivious.
We murder them.
That's funny though.
Yeah. So blew up in his face.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, like, I don't know why you think, like, oh, I just liked the art. Like, somebody made a parody one of it, too, that said, like, you know, so they used the same quote, like, typical.
And it showed, like, an Inquisition picture.
It showed, like, you know, some Hitler's brigade, like, women, like, a poster of women holding up swastika banners, you know, and everything.
Exactly.
Like that. It's like, you know, you do realize that context matters. I mean, you didn't notice it because it wasn't obvious like a swastika. Just because you know less about Chinese history doesn't mean it's not the same kind of thing, though.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was like red, you know, like early Chinese, while the massacres were still going on. Stuff. Yeah, exactly. While they were still liquidating
purges.
Unwanteds. Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. Facebook and Twitter have been the demise of many.
Oh, yeah. Just the brain melt of even those who don't make mistakes. You must put up with everyone else's blabbering. Which, speaking of that that's one of the things that make me around that I could not have cared less about, except that everybody has to comment on it and like.
So you're hearing about it 20 times.
20 times, not only that, but they're commenting on it with such fervor, and like people are taking sides and crap, and it's like the vaccine anti-vaxxer stuff.
Right. There's something that like no one cannot talk about it.
No one cannot talk about it. Not
so we're going to talk
about it. Right, exactly. So we're going to talk about it. The problem is, of course, is they talk about it with such, like, you know, people who have no kids and know that they talk about, like, why don't you vax? You're going to kill us all! And all these things, and it's like...
Well, what is the one that you're referring to, the debate?
Well, just, you know, after the recent measles outbreak...
Oh, it is the vaccine. Is that what you're talking about, the vaccine one?
Yeah, the vaccine one. Like, after the recent measles outbreak, which, I mean, I guess it's an outbreak, but it does 100 cases count as an outbreak?
Well, there's been more than that, localized. I think, but the problem is... It's funny because if you look back, measles was incredibly virulent. Like, 96% of the population would get it. But not that many people would die from it.
Right. But even when there were thousands of people per year dying from it, it stopped being lethal before they developed a vaccine.
Yeah, it was just general hygiene and stuff.
In 1960, they got a vaccine. 60 or 70? But sometime in the 40s, the deaths...
Yeah, they've already plummeted.
From like thousands to hundreds. And that was because medical care had simply gotten so much better that it had a general survival rate increase.
Right. And so you don't want people to necessarily have to put up with these diseases even if they're not dying. But it doesn't justify this kind of fervor.
Exactly.
Especially when you're talking about increasing a risk and not like a direct cause and effect.
Right. And what's so funny to me is that this is the exact same people. Like, if I look at the Facebook list and the people who post stuff like, I can't believe these people don't vaccinate against measles, and like they hate their children and all this stuff that's like, well, whatever, who cares?
Well, my thought
then those people are the same people who got like mad or got snark at people for being worried about Ebola. Yeah. It's like a 98% lethality rate, you know, versus a 99% survival rate, you know.
Well, like anytime you're like your mission or ideology requires other people to do things, it's just I don't give a shit about it. You know, if your whole thing is you need to do this, you need to do that.
There's a difference between saying people should. There's a difference between advocating, even vociferously, you know, to say that this is the best way to do things, and I think we should all do that, or to say people within my family or my group will have to do that, or else I'm asking you to leave.
But they're just not logically coherent because I mean, like when you look at if you're talking about, if you say, hey, my mission is to go against things and increase the risk of death for children by this minuscule amount, then they should be going against things like making sure people keep their kids in rear-facing car seats until they're 10 or whatever. Because way more kids are dying as a result of that type of thing than...
Well, like I said, it's just, what it is, it's so frustrating because it's just panic. It's like, something in the media and some companies that probably sell vaccines probably like this idea of panics coming up because it makes stories, it makes money, it makes whatever. And all these people fall for it. It's
like, one of those where you see religious fervor on both sides, and both sides are usually retarded.
That's the worst part, too. This came up
I end up arguing with both people.
Right, this comes up with a lot of conversations I have with people because somebody was talking to me about the Charlie Hebdo stuff. And they were talking about, what happened to them was wrong, but the Charlie Hebdo people weren't really great. Like, most of their cartoons were really crass, and of course, people were going to be upset.
They're just purposefully inflammatory, other than trying to make a point.
In order
to be inflammatory. Whatever.
It's the point. Then it doesn't matter. You got to divorce the morality of it from the people involved. People can't do that. They look at
they have to make value statements.
They have to make value statements, but not about the principles. They make it about the people. Right. That's my.
They're
that's
just disqualifying
because they don't like what's her name or whatever, the current celebrity champion of because she's against all vaccines or something.
Right.
But then they say because this person doesn't want to vaccinate against measles or any vaccines, then everybody needs to be immediately injected now because you're not a citizen of a...
It's just dogma on both sides.
Right, yeah, it's just dogma on both sides.
Basically, I end up telling the vaccine deniers, and I'm like, look, for the most part, vaccines do work, and the risk of the vaccine is way less than the risk of the disease.
Being wrong, the measles thing, vaccines are one of the fundamental improvements of modern medicine.
Right, but then at the same time, then you go to the other people and be like, look, there's not a huge risk by unvaccinated people, and you can't control... You either believe the government should be able to force people to do things that lower your risk or not, and so just cool it. It's really not
I have no risk from being slapped if everyone's hands are cut off, but I don't think the government should be doing that to ensure there's no slaps happening.
Once you've gone down the path of saying that, we've identified that this behavior increases risk, and we should thus be able to control it with law, then there's no end to that. Because, what type of car you drive affects your death rate more than whether you vaccinate or not.
Exactly.
Certainly, you know what I mean? You could
even start getting to the point where you start doing genetic testing to determine who has good enough eyesight to drive cars.
Well, certainly what you eat is a way bigger impact on your overall health than whether you vaccinate on the normal schedule or not.
On an average daily person's life.
Yeah, because obesity and heart disease is killing people by the droves, and measles certainly isn't. But...
And even genetics have a certain thing. You could say that it would get to the point, and this is the thing that I'll consider, like you said, if you just say that mitigating risk is allowed,
right,
and they can force it, eventually they can get to the point, you can't have kids because you're one subset of African that always has a higher chance to get this disease than
measles.
Just
because you would be an at-risk pregnancy or something like that.
Right, exactly. Your child is X percentage likely to have
I end up being look, most of the time, people who don't vaccinate, for most of the time, it's stupid. But at the same time, you don't have to think that all vaccines in every condition is automatically okay just because the MMR vaccine or the polio vaccine works.
Right, exactly. I mean? That's the other thing, too.
Because you question anything ever...
kind of thing.
Right.
Because the best works, all versions of it must work.
And saying vaccines
is quite
only...
an apex fallacy. That's the wrong term.
Well, it's sort of the same idea. Just looking at the highest profile of these, or the best, and just using it to... attributing those qualities to everything in that category,
even the things that aren't as good as that one.
So you don't have to think that vaccines are some evil government trick to think that the current infant vaccine schedule is a little ridiculous,
a little severe,
right? Or
personally, again, I don't care one way or the other because I don't have a child and I have not researched what I would want to do with my kid for vaccines.
Right.
However, just the level, like you said, the level of just rhetorical fart storms that come out of this
religious fervor. I also think that people should be allowed to do stupid shit. So just by saying that they should be allowed to do this doesn't mean that I think it's not stupid.
Right, and people get mad because they think, but that stupid shit puts other people at risk. Well, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Once you cross that line of thought, there's lots of things you do that put other people at risk.
And it's also the other kids, like I said, there's also plenty of other things like the Ebola and everything else. They said you should stop all travel from Africa, but that actually puts more people at severe risk than the measles. But we didn't stop that because that probably wasn't right.
Right.
We don't know. That was debatable, but why is it this debatable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because they're not. Yeah, they're not based on a coherent ideology. It's just based on they're just afraid or they think that people are backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of how they choose to live their lives. And there's lots of things that people fuck up with raising their kids. Why is this all of a sudden you're crazy? Something that has barely perceptible death
some company
rates.
Somewhere's profit margins are down. They're we need to make sure people buy vaccines.
Yeah. Who knows?
Oh my god, I'm going to lose my job.
But it's one of those annoying situations where I end up arguing with everyone because both people are just out of control.
That's why Facebook. And back to the main point. That's why Facebook is getting stupid. Because I have to argue with everyone now.
Well, I don't. I just start blocking people.
Oh, I don't even try anymore.
Well, I don't even block them. I just put it so you don't see their stuff come up.
Well, you don't see the stuff they link to. Like you can do something.
Well, you can set it so you don't see anything.
Well, you can, yeah. But I mean,
because that way, if you need to get
I
in
want to
touch
see if they do something of their life. I just don't want to see all the things that they're linking to. Like, you need to see this.
Right.
No, I don't need to see this.
Exactly.
Like 90% of Facebook is people shilling for other companies at this point, or like it's not even promoting their own stuff or their own life or talking about what they're doing this week.
Or they're stealing people's views, like we talked about before.
Those freebooters.
I haven't seen that as much in the past couple days.
I just saw it today.
Did you?
Yeah, there was somebody who linked to of course, the other half of Facebook, which is funny animal vines and pictures. So you clicked on it, and it took to one that was a Facebook linked one, like it was embedded in Facebook, the video.
Right.
And then if you actually search for that, it's somebody's Vine somewhere. So that guy didn't make any money off of this.
Well, I don't think Vines make money that way anyway.
Right, but anyway, it's on Vine, it's on YouTube.
So still not getting the view count, which obviously helps you.
I couldn't tell which one was the original.
Right.
Because they didn't link to the original,
right, so
and all these are copies of each other.
Even under the best case scenario where they're not losing any, maybe this person would like or sign up or something that helps them. Subscribe.
Yeah, you would at least go back and drive.
Well, they would at least know who it was. A lot of times now you don't even know who this person is.
Yeah, you don't know who originated.
You're not seeing their channel or their Vine page or whatever it is that So where you may get a YouTube subscriber out of it, or at least a view that say, "Hey, I know this person watched it." You don't.
Right, or it ups the popularity of your site in general because a lot of people go to see other things traffic. They like. Yeah,
and then it helps with Google rankings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely shitty. It's just one of those things that's not going to be.
It's not going to be solved.
You just have to accept that you're go after the big egregious fuck when they really fuck you.
Well, the thing is because when those companies do
that's what I mean.
That's really egregious. I understand that people do it because
they're not doing it on purpose.
They link the first thing that somebody links to them, and it turns out it's 3 times removed.
It's just the nature of the way the technology vehicle that they're using that does it that way. But if you can go after Facebook and say, "Hey, doing this, fucks people over." What I don't understand is why, in the instances when Facebook isn't really getting any of the ad revenue, like why are they mirroring it? They do it. They get it
because they get. You only get a portion, just like YouTube. Ad revenue first goes to Facebook, then because advertisers buy from Facebook.
But those advertisers are coming up on like the Facebook sidebar; they're not on the video. So why are they hosting?
It generates views.
Yeah, but they're
million views.
But they're having to
is a
pay
million
for all
ad
that
spots
hosting.
that they sell.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Because that's all they need is to drive up. They need traffic.
So then you say,
millions.
we got we've
made this many million impressions.
But they could
per
still
day.
do that if they're showing. If the person goes to that page and is just watching the YouTube video, they're already on that page still. So it should still be able to count for both. And then, but they're hosting it when they could let YouTube host. I don't know the technology.
I don't know exactly how that's structured either. But part of it is they keep it on their site because even though. I mean, yeah, they do make money. They don't make money directly per se off that video because they just sell a certain number of targeted ads.
Right.
But it generates a place for an ad to go
ad
up.
Got 500 impressions.
Each one of those is a billboard for them, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a billboard that somebody else created that they get to sell ad space on.
Right.
Whereas the advertiser may not,
Right. So in general, you're not. That's why I think maybe the key would, I guess, be to try and include things in the video that show where it's from and stuff like that, so you get some sort of credit for it.
Right.
Like with ours, we normally put the credit thing.
Yeah, but like that one first case I used, the guy Smarter Every Day's channel.
Yeah,
they literally cut his intro.
Well, see, that shows like
that was like
malice. Yeah, well, that shows like malice too.
Forethought.
It wasn't just like, oh, this is the system we use. We didn't think about. Like they're purposely making
took
sure you
the
can't.
Cool part, not the part where he was explaining it or talking about it, just the 30 seconds of slow mo footage of the thing happening, a slow mo, how cool, and they put that up there.
That's why he's suing him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure he'll win, or he'll settle. They'll probably settle.
Yeah, I don't think he sued them. I think he just sent the notice to Facebook, which they took it down.
I thought you said he did sue them.
No, I don't think so.
I swear you said that.
Well, he might be in the process of doing it because like Facebook took it down, but there was still no punishment for these people, nor
that's what I mean, like
remunerations to him.
Right, so he's still probably going to sue to get back that money.
I don't know if he is or not. He didn't mention that.
Sounds like if he's talking about
like
possibly getting
to stand on, but
right. Especially if they modify the video to purposefully exclude the contact information to show that someone else did it.
Yeah, to exclude his intros and outros that promoted his channel.
Right. Yeah, so then it even kept people from going back to find his other stuff. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Pretty ridiculous.
If only we had that many views, those were our problems.
Right, yeah.
Those are like first world problems, so to speak.
First world problems for sure. But that is a huge part of the first world economy now, so it's not...
Well, and when you're talking about like he probably lost out on anywhere from $10,000 to like $50,000.
Yeah, because it was something like 3 million views.
Yeah, so it could have been anywhere from like 3,000 to 100,000, or depending. I mean, it's usually
depending
not
on
that
the
high.
ad revenue.
But like I said, it's not unreasonable to expect anywhere from $1 to $10 per 1,000 views.
Right.
So somewhere
tends to
there.
follow in that range.
It's probably like 3, maybe, but
even on the lowest end, that's 3 million divided by 1,000.
So it's 3,000 sets of 1,000, so it'd be $9,000.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some people's living money for a year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's certainly a nice chunk of change.
Right. Some people make have their take-home pay after expenses.
And then not to mention, like, what would be the conversion rate of people subscribing to his channel, which increases his views for future videos and everything else. So, yeah. Make sure we don't get screwed like that. So it looks like we ran out of stuff to talk about. So that'll do it for this episode of the English. Also, since we're cheap motherfuckers, we just discovered that we need to keep it under the 3-hour limit for per month for SoundCloud until we get all of our rabid fans to actually listen. We know they're out there. We just got to get them to start listening. So until then, we'll probably keep we'll probably do 4 monthly or 4 weekly podcasts a month, about 45 minutes each, and that way keep it under
4 weekly podcasts a month.
Well, one every week for every month.
Oh, also. That does make sense actually. Okay, yes, it'd be 4 if it's
I guess that. No, 4 weekly podcasts would be 4 times a week.
No, because it's a weekly means
Let's
it happens
put it this way.
We'll
do it. We'll plan on doing it once a week. That way we get 4 a month. With a total time of 3 hours. So we don't have to pay. Smart. All right, so we don't have to pay. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening.
Adios.